While drawing water, a woman actually pulled a black dragon out of the well. The next second, the dragon spoke. "Please, ma'am, let me go. I'm the 7th princess of the Jing River Dragon King. I snuck out to play and accidentally got trapped in your well." Chen Sanyang's eyes went wide. A dragon was a divine creature. If she took this thing to town and sold it, it could fetch several big ingots of silver. She'd never have to worry again. Thinking of that, she rushed back inside, dug out a thick iron chain, and while the little black dragon was distracted, she lunged forward and grabbed her body. The little black dragon panicked, twisting to break free while begging. "Ma'am, I'll give you a water pearl. Hold it in your mouth and you can walk through rivers like they're flat ground. Please let me go." After saying that, the black dragon opened her mouth and spat out a large black pearl. Chen Sanyang snatched it and stuffed it into her clothes, while the dragon spun anxiously in the water jar. "I gave you the pearl, now please let me go." Chen Sanyang let out a cold laugh. Those dragon scales are worth way more than the pearl. Her eyes gleamed as she wrapped the iron chain around the dragon 3 times and tied it in a dead knot. The black dragon's voice trembled like she was about to cry. "The dragon clan has rules. If you accept a gift, you have to let me go. You're breaking the rules." Chen Sanyang scoffed. "Rules? I've been poor for 50 years. Can rules put food on the table?" She stuffed the black dragon into a bamboo basket and covered it. That night, she tossed and turned, thinking dragon scales and dragon bones were priceless treasures. If she took them to Jishi Hall, she might make a fortune. The next morning, just as dawn broke, Chen Sanyang carried the bamboo basket into town. Shopkeeper Wu of Jishi Hall was a sharp old woman. When she saw Chen Sanyang pull the black dragon out of the basket, she froze. Her voice shook. "Is that a real dragon?" "The real deal." Chen Sanyang pressed the black dragon onto the counter. "Take a look. How much are these scales worth?" Shopkeeper Wu leaned in for a closer look. She rubbed the black dragon's scales with her fingers, then tapped them lightly. Dragon scales can be used as medicine for rare illnesses. Dragon whiskers can make brushes, and the words written with them carry spiritual power. Dragon bones are even more precious. The more Shopkeeper Wu talked, the more excited she became. "I can't afford the whole dragon, but if it's just the scales, I'll give you 400 taels." Chen Sanyang's breathing quickened. 400 taels was enough to build 3 big tile-roofed rooms, find herself a young, handsome live-in husband, and live comfortably for the rest of her life. She slapped her thigh. "Pull the scales now." The black dragon thrashed violently. "No! My scales protect my body! Pulling them off is like skinning me alive! I'll die!" Chen Sanyang didn't care. She borrowed a sharp little knife from Shopkeeper Wu. The first scale was the hardest to pull, so she dug at the edge and yanked hard. The black dragon let out a piercing scream, her body convulsing violently. A pitch-black scale was ripped off, exposing the tender flesh underneath as blood seeped from the wound. Chen Sanyang didn't stop. 1 scale, 2 scales, 3 scales. The black dragon's screams grew weaker, until only a faint whimper remained. A thick layer of black scales piled up in the bamboo basket, and the dragon's body was left mangled and bloody. Shopkeeper Wu was terrified by what she saw, but thinking of the value of those dragon scales, she still gritted her teeth and counted out 400 taels of silver. Chen Sanyang pocketed the money and walked out of the pharmacy with the dying black dragon. Shopkeeper Wu chased after her and asked, "What are you going to do with the dragon?" "It's useless now, I'll just throw it away," Chen Sanyang said without even looking back. She found a filthy ditch outside town and tossed the black dragon in like garbage. The dragon struggled twice in the dirty water, then stopped moving. Chen Sanyang went back to the village with 400 tiles of silver, walking like she owned the road. That night, she went to a matchmaker in the next village and said she wanted a live-in husband. When the matchmaker saw the shiny silver, her eyes nearly popped out. The matchmaker immediately patted her chest and promised to find her a young, obedient man. Chen Sanyang slept happily that night. Early the next morning, she was woken by noise. Outside, people were shouting in panic. "The well's dry, the well's dry!" Chen Sanyang got up and ran to the village's public well. A crowd had gathered around it. Granny Wang, the old village head, leaned over the well and looked down, her face pale. "You can see the bottom. This 100-year-old well has never hit bottom before. And it wasn't just this well. The other 3 wells in the village had dried up too." Someone went to check the river, and when he came back, his legs were shaking. The riverbed was exposed. Only a thin stream remained in the middle, and even that looked ready to dry up. This was a once-in-a-century drought. Granny Wang beat her chest in despair. Chen Sanyang's heart skipped. She thought of the black dragon she threw away yesterday. Dragons control water. Could it be? Someone must have offended the Dragon King. The oldest man in the village, Elder Zhou, leaned on his cane and said in a trembling voice, "The Dragon King is angry. He's not giving us water anymore." The villagers panicked. Someone suggested going to the Dragon King temple to burn incense and bow for forgiveness. Chen Sanyang quietly slipped home and hid the remaining silver in a crack in the wall. The drought got worse by the day. The crops began to wither, and the livestock had no water to drink. On the 7th day, an even bigger disaster came. That morning, just after sunrise, the sky suddenly went dark. The villagers looked up and nearly lost their souls. A dark swarm of locusts flew in from the horizon like storm clouds, blocking out the sun. "Locusts! It's a locust plague!" someone screamed. The locusts landed in the fields, and all that could be heard was a non-stop crunching sound. In less than 2 hours, the wheat field on the east side of the village was stripped bare. "Dear God, you're trying to leave us no way to survive!" The villagers swung brooms and branches at the locusts, but there were far too many. Someone dropped to their knees, crying. Chen Sanyang hid inside her house, too scared to go out. She peeked through the crack in the door at the endless swarm, and the last bit of luck in her heart disappeared. Just as the whole village fell into despair, something strange happened at Lin Xunyang's house on the west side. When the locusts flew over Lin Xunyang's vegetable garden, they suddenly seemed to hit an invisible wall and turned away one after another. Her 3 rows of greens and 2 cucumber trellises were completely untouched. When Qian Sanyang heard about it, she suddenly remembered something and ran straight toward the filthy ditch outside town. Lin Xunyang had actually gone to that ditch too. She was there digging wild greens because her family had already run out of food, and her daughter Xiaoya was crying from hunger. As she dug, she saw something black sticking out of the mud at the bottom of the ditch. At first, she thought it was rotten wood, but when she pushed the mud aside with a branch, she gasped. It was a dragon. Its whole body was mangled and bloody, all its scales were gone, and the wounds were festering with maggots. It was barely alive, only its golden eyes were still slightly open. When it saw Lin Xunyang, a faint glimmer flashed in its eyes. Lin Xunyang's heart softened. She didn't care how dirty it was. She jumped into the ditch and picked up the black dragon. The dragon's body was burning hot, and its breath was so weak she could barely feel it. This is just cruel. Lin Xunyang's eyes turned red. Who did this to you? She carried the black dragon home, boiled a pot of hot water, and carefully cleaned the wounds bit by bit. Xiaoya jumped in fright when she saw it. Mom, what is that? It's a little dragon. She's hurt. We have to save her. Only a little bit of herbal medicine was left at home. Lin Xunyang crushed it up and applied it to the dragon's wounds. The black dragon twitched from the pain, but she was too weak to make a sound. Then Lin Xunyang cooked a pot of thin porridge and fed it to her little by little.